On this Rising Stars workshop, talking about an area that best second to none. So many people with, including very large organizations. I'm sure he will talk all about that. We're talking on internet leads deep dive. Victor.
Thank you. Let's see if we can get this going. I'm gonna be the shortest speech here today at my own event. How does that go? Nah, man, we're gonna go right into this. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible. I'm gonna give you guys a lot of information quick. So we're gonna go into internet leads 101 and give you guys everything I've got. So what are internet leads? They're leads that are generated online through ads, sold through a vendor to agents, right? There's a lot of forms of internet leads, but the main ones are shared, exclusive, live transfer. So shared leads, buy a lead, sell it to 3-4 vendors, 3-4 agents, and you're all calling the same person. Exclusive, you are the only person getting this lead. Live transfer, stay away from them. They're gonna call those exclusive leads. If they don't pick up, then they sell it to you exclusively. Who should be purchasing internet leads? Agents who are looking to start a new agency, need a quick influx of sales and cash flow, agents who've capped their referral partners and need a new stream of leads to fill in the gaps, agents who have great follow-up organizational skills, all these things that you need to be successful with internet leads. Also, internet leads should never be your main source of leads. I love internet leads. I've worked and managed hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of internet leads. I promise you, don't let it be your main source because you will burn through cash and it's not sustainable. So what are some main qualities to understand from leads? Number one, 50% of leads or more are expecting a quote to be emailed to them, not a phone call, right? So who in here purchases internet leads? All right, so a couple, right? So how many times do you call a lead and they're like, why are you calling me? Like, or they're just like, don't call me again, right? Like 5 people have called me already and I just filled this out 3 seconds ago, right? If a lead is being shared, if you're purchasing a lead as shared, then they're being bombarded with calls, right? So you have to learn how to diffuse and eliminate your competition. So one way I do that is when I have a client who picks up and they're like, why are you calling me? You're the 5th person that's called. I just say, hey, listen, I understand that you're probably being bombarded with calls right now, right? Like, I understand, but we're paying for your information to talk to you and sell you insurance, right? So this is how you're gonna get rid of the phone calls. And this is like how I turn shared leads into exclusive leads. I say, listen, next time they call, pick up the phone and tell them, take me off your list. Done deal. Now you're DNC'd. I've gotten rid of my competition. And I tell them, save my number in their phone, right? So now I'm the exclusive person. So I turned a $15 lead into a $7 lead into an exclusive lead. And then another thing to understand, don't fall into the false narrative that internet leads are always price shoppers. Most internet leads are filling out a form for the first time, right? So there's this really bad narrative around internet leads and a lot of them are filling out for the first time. So
first time and last time you fill it out.
Exactly, right? So it's really exclusive if you could get rid of everyone else calling. So in the words of Sandra, the leads don't suck, you do, and that's okay, right? So you just have to understand that internet leads just have to be worked differently. So one also, retention can go up with internet leads. They just need to be worked a little bit more. You just need to give them a little bit more attention on the front end, right? The last agency that I worked for before I opened my agency was a $50 million Allstate agency, okay? Never worked internet leads ever. Built it through referral network partners, grew it, started purchasing other books, grew it to 50 million. Brought me in to help him build out that division because Allstate put a bunch of restrictions on them and made it really difficult to hit bonus. So when I came in, the first thing we did was purchase internet leads and we're purchasing about $5,000 to $7,000 a month worth of leads. He was always against it because he's like, they don't retain, you know, they're not great, they're price shoppers, they're gonna shop every 6 months. At the end of the 6 months, what he found was that his retention went up, right? Because he just spent a lot of time and attention on giving them that front-end experience, and then they didn't shop again. So finding the right vendor. Research, interview, and negotiate with your vendors. Matt, sorry. I'm about to blow up some stuff, so we're gonna teach how to cut lead costs over here. So first off, when you're interviewing vendors, you should be interviewing 5+ vendors, right? Don't just say, hey, Laura, who are you using? Oh, I'm using Quote Wizard. Cool, I'm using Quote Wizard now, right? Find local vendors, find national vendors. Find out who's able to give you the things that you're looking to accomplish in your agency. So when you're interviewing vendors, you should be asking what the ad copy is that they're using, right? Are they just putting out a $5 Walmart gift card? Yep, right? Where you click the ad, they scrub their Facebook profile, and data from 10 years ago that's still on there, right? barbiequeen101@gmail.com is their email, right? You don't want that. You want long form leads like Joe does on his website, right? Where they're filling out pieces of information, 5, 10, 15, 20 pieces of information, and then it hits your email. Can your vendor apply specific filters that you're looking for? Age, marital status, right? If you can get occupation, all these filters that you're looking for, right? One of the things that we were really successful at Allstate is that I knew the demographic like the back of my hand, right? Allstate in Florida, 55 and older, married, homeowner, multi-car, right, retired. That's Allstate's demographic. We put those on every lead that we bought. Raises the price, but your closing percentage goes way up. Negotiating lead price, right? So there's 3 main ways that I negotiate lead prices with vendors. The first is the easy way, right? 20% off the price of every single lead in return for me not returning any leads, right? It saves me time from having to hassle with them and returning leads, and it saves them a ton of time because they don't have to deal with me calling them every 5 minutes because they rejected my request. Most vendors are gonna give you 20% on 1-for-1 exchanges. So if you just get rid of it and just say, give me 20% off, they'll give it to you. And the good thing is most agents actually return about 15% of leads, which means that you're actually giving yourself 5% extra worth of leads and saving yourself a ton of time on the hassle. The second way is the expensive way. That's asking for a 30% lead reduction in price in exchange for one, also not returning leads, but with that, you have to spend a lot more with vendors, right? So 5,000 or more is usually the baseline where they'll even consider that kind of cut on price. So unless you're planning on pumping that much money out, that might not be an option for you. And then the last one is the round down method. If someone's offering you $725 for a lead, just ask them to round it down. All right, optimizing your leads. It's filtering, kind of touched on it just now. If I know Allstate 55 and older, right? Married, retired, homeowners, multi-car, right? Sarasota, Naples, Fort Myers. Those are the filters I'm looking to put on my leads. So make sure you understand who your target demographic is so that you can go to your vendors and say, I need my leads to have all these filters on it. So how do I talk to internet leads? So first you have to understand the psychology of the consumer on internet leads, right? Number one, they aren't expecting a phone call, right? They aren't expecting multiple agents to be calling on top of that. And they just don't want to be on the phone, period. They're expecting emails, right? So if you have 3 agents that are purchasing leads and they all have employees, right, that are all calling the same lead, that one lead might be getting 15 phone calls in 5 minutes from 3 agents, right? So you have to understand that you might have to divert your conversation from insurance to just let me get rid of my competition right now first, right? So in order to overcome this, I teach a lot on removing opt-outs out of your scripts, right? So that's removing the option for the prospect to say no to you in any situation. So what I usually say is, good morning, this is Victor with Brightway Insurance. You requested a quote for car insurance. Are you still at 123 Friendly Ave? Is your best email 123friendlyperson@aol.com? Are you still driving the 2020 BMW? You want to confirm the information that you already have in front of you, right? And get them to say yes, 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 right? So an example of an opt-out is going to be, is now a good time to talk? Are you still interested in a quote, right? These little questions where someone can come in and just say no and hang up the phone and then you're done, right? So anytime that you have in your opening script, and we all have scripts that we stick with and have been using for years, write it down on a piece of paper, and whenever you give someone the opportunity to say no, remove it. So building rapport. Easiest way to build rapport over the phone, especially with internet leads, is the simple acronym of FORM: family, occupation, recreation, money, right? Bruce said it earlier, the easiest way to have a good conversation is let them talk about themselves, right? So doing this allows that. Allows people to talk about the things that they love the most in their lives. Hopefully it's their family. Occupation, probably not. Recreation, and unless you're in financial services, you could probably stray away from money. Every simple question that you ask when dealing with family, occupation, and recreation is an opportunity to uncover other sales opportunities, right? So if I'm asking you, what'd you do on the weekend? What do you like to do on your free time? And you say, oh, I like to go on the boat. Cool, now I have an opportunity to sell you boat insurance. And you probably have a trailer, right? And if it was a car insurance quote and you have a boat, chances are you probably own a home too. So that's four opportunities right there just from building rapport and letting people talk about themselves. One call closing. So everyone has probably heard of it. Not many people do it, right? And I never understood why anyone wants to get on a phone call a second time when you can handle it on the first call. So it's super simple. Just ask for the sale 3 times. There's no rocket science to it. Like, ask for a sale, you get the objection, you overcome the objection. Ask for the sale again, receive your objection, overcome it, rebuild a rapport, ask for the sale the 3rd time. It's just plain statistics. 65% of all buyers close on the first call when 2 objections are satisfactorily met. This is across all sales industries. What should my follow-up cadence be? So if you haven't quoted a prospect, call them every single day, right? If you're investing money into leads, keep calling that person until they pick up. If you've already quoted the prospect and they're actively in your pipeline, then the cadence that I use is 11357, and that's the days that I call them after I've quoted them. So you have 1 day for me to call. If you don't pick up, I'm calling 1 day after that. If you don't pick up again, 3 days after that, 5 days after that, 7 days after that. And if you don't pick up after that 5th attempt, you get X-dated. Anytime they pick up during this cadence, you restart it all over again.
Next date's a P&C term.
Yeah. For the life and health guys, what's the next date?
Yeah, so an X date is just like, it's their renewal date. It's their renewal date. So scheduling appointments. So if you aren't able to close someone on the first call, the easiest way to get a super high show rate is 1, never schedule appointments more than 3 business days out. And number 2, when you're asking for the appointment, you give 2 dates and 2 times, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. This is giving them the option, this is removing the option for them to say no, right? You're giving them 2 choices and they're already predetermined by you. So great, let's get you into the office, discuss this policy. I have Tuesday at 10, Thursday at 2, which time and date works better for you, right? And then cost control, right? So this is the most important. This is how you become profitable on leads. This is where a lot of people go wrong and lose a lot of money and burn through their cash. Number one, never have past due leads, right? If you have a scheduled date to call them back tomorrow, call them tomorrow. Don't call them 2 days later, 3 days later. Number two, only keep prospects in your pipeline who are high intent that you think you have an 80% chance or better of closing. Number three, you should have 2 clients minimum daily that are ready to lock in. That's how you start building a robust pipeline, right? Because that 2 turns into 3, then 4, and then 5. Number 4, any leads that aren't competitive. I know when you're spending money on leads and you quote them, you want to keep them in the pipeline and think you have a chance. You have to be real with yourself. If you know someone's not competitive, stop calling them. X-date them out or get rid of them. Number 5, make use of X-dating. For people who are future competitive but not currently competitive, if you're in P&C and you know someone has an accident falling off in a year and a half, follow up with them in a year and a half, not 6 months. Number 6, if you're saving someone a ton of money and they're not answering your call, X-date them. Don't waste your time following up if they've keep ghosting you, right? That's another way to waste a lot of time. And when you have a bunch of those going, it adds up, right? 30 seconds here, a minute there. You have 20 or 30 of those, you're wasting a lot of time. And the last is tracking your cost per sale. So price per lead multiplied by the amount of leads you purchase divided by the amount of sales you've made. That's your cost per sale, right? And that should always be less than what your average commission is. If your cost per sale if your average commission on a policy is $150, then your cost per sale goal should be less than that. 130, 120, 100. You want to be profitable on it. And beware of the little expenses. A small leak can sink a big ship. That's a quote by Benjamin Franklin. When it comes to internet leads, that is like the most important thing to do, is to watch where your money is going, right? Too many times I've seen agents that have consulted with, coached with, managed, where you go in, you look at their leads and their cost per sale is $600, $700 and their average commission is $100, right? But because they see sales come in and they're like, oh, this is great, right? No, you're losing a lot of money. So that is all I've got. I'm gonna take quick questions. I really try to condense this as quick as possible so we can get mad up here. So, Joe.
Would there be anything that would cause you to, because like when I saw it, when you said remove, right? So there's sometimes when we're quoting, right, and this is maybe more specific on the P&C, well actually maybe even for life and health too, where like they're declined, right? Like they're not hitting certain criteria. Is there ever anything that would truly cause you to delete a lead versus just put it out? Because I know we're big on obviously data and like having that, but is there ever maybe any type of qualifiers that you're like, man, I don't ever want to even work it again?
All the time. Yeah. I mean, I have people that I delete all the time. So like if it's like a super young driver, like 19 years old, they have a ton of accidents, they're living at their parents' house, they're not renters, there's no opportunity there immediately in the next year or two, they're gone. Like I generate too many leads to keep people housed in, right? So unless I see an immediate opportunity coming, I won't keep them. I won't keep them in my pipeline. I'll just delete them, period. Yeah.
Do you use internet leads for commercial lines?
I don't do commercial, period. I don't.
Your guy then.
Yeah, no, I don't do commercial, so I've never purchased it.
Laura's like, back off, that was mine.
Laura.
Joe, do you purchase commercial? I don't know. I've never